Cat Podcast. I'm Kelly McFarland.
I'm Carolyn Plummer.
And we're back with you this week. We're talking with our favorite guest, comedian Kathe Farris.
Favorite? Do you rank them?
We do. You're our favorite.
And I'm ranked number one.
Mm-hmm.
You're also our first, just so you know.
Thanks, Carolyn, for ruining the buzz.
You're like the only one we've ever had, and you're our
Jesus,
favorite.
you can't just
You
let me
are our
have
favorite.
this.
No, you are our favorite.
You're a repeat guest. That, to me, is like the...
I think so. Right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
You're a good guest because you try to debunk everything we talk about.
Also, I'm the only one home during the day.
Fair enough.
True.
Yes.
True.
Great. This week on the Fraidy Cat Podcast, we're talking about Carolyn's favorite subject, possessed things.
Well, possession in general is my favorite
Sorry,
topic,
forgive
but
me.
We're specifically talking about possessed objects.
Yes. And there's a reason Carolyn is wanted to have you on, Kathe, and that's because she's really mad still about something. We went to Key West to do shows together at the Key West Comedy Club, and we went and visited a possessed doll that Carolyn really wanted to go see. Look at how mad she is.
That's right. That's right. We did.
I'm a little salty about it, I'll be honest.
All right.
Because we did the Robert the Doll, which is a possessed doll that is in Key West. He's part of a museum. And I wanted to go when we were in Key West. And Kelly said, absolutely not. I'm not going to see that.
Is that your impression of me?
Yes. I'm not going to see that.
I didn't want to go see it at the time. Then I was Annabelle had just come out, like one of the Annabelles, and I was nervous.
And then you and Kathe went, and I was jealous because I had wanted to go. And I didn't get to go. And
I didn't know that part of the story. I didn't realize
you didn't know.
No, I did not know that part. I didn't know.
I just hope
had
you
the
both
opportunity.
respected Robert the Doll because they say if you don't, that you can have problems later.
Well, let's let people know what the deal is with Robert the Doll. So here's the history of Robert the Doll. It doesn't sound scary. When you look him up, he is terrifying looking. And we'll put this in the show notes, but he is terrifying. He was once owned by a painter, author, and Key West resident, Robert Eugene Otto. And the doll, the allegedly haunted doll, is now exhibited at this museum in Key West. I think it might be the only museum. The cops are coming to take me away. Whoop. It's the East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida. So this doll originally belonged to Robert Eugene Otto. He has been described as eccentric, and we forgot to turn it off.
Or maybe it's Robert.
No.
It could be Robert.
He knows we're talking about it.
Yes.
No. We're going to pause for just a moment. There we go. I'm going to just take it to one. I'm going to go back to one, everybody.
History of Robert?
Yep. Yes. So this doll originally belonged to Robert Eugene Otto. He's been described as eccentric, and I think that's like an understatement. The doll was reportedly manufactured by is it Steiff Company?
They
Carolyn?
make all the bears. They're famous from Germany.
Of Germany, yeah. And it was purchased by Otto's grandfather while on a trip to Germany in 1904 and given to Otto as a birthday gift. Again, when you see this doll's face, this is not a doll that you would want in your home. He's very scary looking. It's not comforting. I don't know. I realize that, like, it was 1904, but this doll,
But it's straw.
And he's scary in person. Kathe and I can attest to that.
Well, I wouldn't know.
I know. He's dressed in a sailor suit.
Which is also scary.
And the outfit he's wearing, the sailor suit, is an outfit that Otto used to wear as a child. So this is like the original
life-size doll.
American Girl doll, like American, German.
But an unhappy American Girl doll.
Oh my God, the face on this thing is terrifying. So the doll remains stored in the Otto family home at 534 Eaton Street in Key West while Otto studied art in New York and Paris. Otto married Annette Parker in Paris in 1930, and the couple returned to the Otto family home in Key West to live, and they stayed there until Otto died in 1974. His wife died 2 years later, and after their deaths, the Eaton home containing the doll was sold, and that person owned it for 20 years. So it's now a guest house. You can go and stay there. But in 1994, the doll was donated to this museum where it became a popular tourist attraction. And, I mean, according to the legend, the doll has supernatural abilities that allow it to move, change its facial expressions, and make giggling sounds, which it didn't do any of that when we saw it. Some versions of the legend claim that a young girl of Bahamian descent gave Otto the doll as a gift or as retaliation for wrongdoing. Other stories claim that the doll moved voodoo figurines around a room and was, quote unquote, aware of what went on around him. The doll there's also stories like the doll vanished from. Oh, Carolyn, are you all right?
She's possessed.
She needs a.
This was a revenge doll?
Yeah, that's what they say. I don't think that's true.
They say that the grandfather gave it to him, and then because this woman who used to work in the house or something made it possessed.
Okay.
According to local folklore, the doll has caused car accidents, broken bones, job loss, divorce, and a cornucopia of other misfortunes. And museum visitors supposedly experience post-visit misfortunes for failing to respect Robert, which is what Carolyn's talking about. If you remember, when we were there, so Carolyn, you didn't miss anything. You walk into this place.
You missed everything. What are you talking about?
Oh, Kathe.
First of all, this doll is just a scapegoat, okay? Everything that's going wrong
He
is
used to
blamed on
blame
Robert the
everything
doll.
on the doll.
Honestly, I can't believe we weren't doing that 4 years ago
I know.
instead of or 8 years ago. Thanks, Obama. It's Robert the doll. That's why this is happening.
When we went into this museum, they have him in plexiglass, and he's sitting on a little stool, and he's pretty large. I mean,
They said he was life size when the kid was 4.
So he's the size of a 4-year-old.
So
And
he's Kelly's size.
he's
a
wearing
small
a sailor
4-year-old.
suit. The sailor suit was the most upsetting part about all of it because I never had an American Girl doll, obviously because I'm old. But I would not want a doll dressed just like me. That feels weird.
Why?
That's weird.
Oh, I would.
You would?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I beg to differ with you. I think the only good thing about that doll was the clothes.
Really?
Yes.
You think that the sailor suit matching the kid who he belonged to is great?
Yeah. And in fact, I think that's part of the whole. That's the only reason that I was really scared about this, because they did make you scared about you better respect this doll, because if you don't respect this doll, bad things are going to happen to you. And it did make me nervous.
There were letters. People write letters.
There's alarms on the glass box.
Yeah, if you touch him.
Well, I think it's in case he gets out.
Oh, that's not what I'm going with. Because that makes
it
me
says
feel nervous.
that curses will befall those who take photographs of Robert without asking his permission first. While this seems hard to believe, the walls near his glass case are covered with letters from scores of visitors and non-believers writing to beg for Robert's forgiveness and asking him to remove the bad luck that he placed on him because of their carelessness.
Yeah. There were letters. There were a ton of letters there.
Dear Robert.
Well, dear Robert, please, I broke my leg in a car accident.
That's
2 weeks after 2 weeks after visiting you. I'm sorry I didn't make eye contact
With a doll.
with a doll. It's terrifying. I don't like possessed things. I don't like when objects can be recently we watched the movie Megan.
I love that movie.
Loved this movie. Loved it.
Harry and Meghan?
No, not Harry and Meghan.
It's a dark comedy about
Oh my God.
a AI doll.
I loved that because she's not possessed. She's a robot.
And she learns.
She's amazing.
Okay.
She's a good dancer. She's sassy AF. She's got great comebacks, and she's an acrobat and a murderer. But she covers it up, and she learns from her mistakes. Yeah.
First of all, you're selling me on this.
You need to see this movie.
Yes.
That I'm fine with. That stuff doesn't scare me. And it should, because that's a real thing that's happening in our world. But this type of stuff, this possessed thing, I won't even let my husband likes to buy things from Facebook Marketplace.
Kelly has a hard stall.
Oh my gosh. I went away on a gig. I was gone for a week. And when I came back, there was a new dresser in my stepson's room. And I was like, where did this dresser come from? And he's like, I bought it. And I was like, where did it come? I need to know where it originated.
Like, what's its history?
Right. Where did you get
it.
this? Who did you buy it from? What did that person look like? Did he have teeth?
Mm-hmm.
Did he look at you with his eyes? I need to know all of this because there's a lot of proof out there that there are certain things that items can carry energy and power and whatnot. Yep, Kathe, again, not buying it.
Well, what I am buying in this, and what I should have caught on to when we went to see this, is that this is a wonderful excuse. Like, you screw up in anything, you'd be like, I'm so sorry. It was like Robert the doll. Like, I don't know if you know, I was in Key West like 2 years ago. I didn't respect the doll. And that's why I posted all that stuff about you on social media.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, everything can go back to this. And people write letters. Okay, are they stamped? Like, are we verifying these? You know what I mean? Santa gets letters.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's true. We also went to get our palms read when we were in Key West, and
Which I've also wanted to do.
Here's the thing. What we basically did is give a woman $115.
Yeah.
Is all that was.
That's it. We basically walked in. This is the scary part. I almost left with a crystal the size of my head.
$200.
No, it was more than that because it was like $340 or something. She's like, this crystal will take away all of the darkness. And I was like,
well, I know that's a crock issue.
I was like, I didn't even know I had darkness. And she's like, you're covered in it. You're surrounded in darkness. This darkness.
Sorry about your darkness.
Sorry about your darkness. I'm like, I thought it was irritable bowel syndrome, but it's apparently darkness. Do you have a crystal that would help with that? And I almost bought it. And when I came out, I told Kathe, she's like, my friend owns a store.
Yeah, I got a guy. I got a crystal guy.
She has a crystal guy.
I got a crystal guy.
She's like,
did I not get you that crystal?
You did get me a crystal.
Right. I got it for like $30.
Yep. And I use it. And the darkness has faded.
The difference is that you did the long reading. I did the short reading, which was supposed to be 20 minutes. It ended up being 12 with a cliffhanger of like, I'd really like to tell you more about what's going to happen, but we were out of time.
But I'm going to need another $25.
I'm going to need another $25.
Oh, I wish it was $25.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah. I know that it's an eye roll when I say that objects are possessed, but a lot of thrift stores have items that are possessed. There is a possessed, carrying energy, negative energy, whatever it is. There is a thrift store that had to warn their customers about a certain piece of furniture because it was haunted. It's in North Carolina. It's a thrift store, and they take things in to benefit Habitat for Humanity, which is so lovely and so nice and always the way the story goes. And basically some of these pieces of furniture, dogs bark at them. They bring bad luck. Like, what is the thought on this, honestly?
I could get an end table off Wayfair and my dog would bark at that. Like, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean, you know what I mean?
I know, my dog does this thing where she like looks up and around the room like she's watching something fly around.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always like, someone's here visiting us apparently. And my husband's like, or she saw a light. She can't read. She's a dog.
Right.
She's very smart though.
I mean, I think that this is a really good marketing strategy. Like,
for
if
people
you
to
have,
come to their store.
If you have a store of secondhand stuff, like if I had a store and I had to like sell all my kids like cosplay stuff from anime and all these brat dolls and stuff, which actually do all have backstories, because my kid had like they made a doll encyclopedia and like every single one of these dolls has a backstory and issues. And anyway, that's what I would do. I'd be like, well, I wouldn't take those because, you know, when the moon is in Mercury or retrograde or one of those 12 houses, watch out.
12 houses.
Do we want to talk about the other possessed doll?
No, I hate her.
Annabelle?
I hate her so much.
I'm going to talk about Annabelle.
Great.
So Annabelle was a Raggedy Ann doll that was possessed.
Which I don't like already because Raggedy Ann is a beloved childhood character. That's it. That's all I wanted to say.
And this brings into play the Ed and Lorraine Warren they were ghost hunters / they're the couple based on The Conjuring, the movie The Conjuring, that was Ed and Lorraine Warren, and they took possessed objects to their house. If they deemed something possessed, they put it in their museum. They just put it in their house. And they were having a dinner in Connecticut before they passed away, or before Lorraine passed away. And it was like a buffet, and Annabelle was going to be there, and they were going to give a lecture, and I wanted to go, and Kelly wouldn't go to that either. But
can we pause for just a second? No one wants to go to that in real life.
Really? Because they sold out.
It's a dinner.
It's the new owner. The new owner that has the doll. It was in a glass case, and he was having a dinner
I like how
and a
you
lecture.
pointed out it was a buffet. I do love a good buffet, but it's a buffet, and Annabelle's just there in her plexiglass thing, like waiting to attach herself to someone.
Yeah, but you can get selfies with Annabelle. Who doesn't want to do that?
She did not like that.
So the history of Annabelle, though, is it's a Raggedy Ann doll that was given to a nursing student named Donna by her mother in 1970. And within days, Donna and her roommate noticed that the doll appeared to change positions when no one was looking, and it began to show up in different rooms of the house, seemingly under its own power. They decided to get help. A psychic told them that the doll was possessed by the spirit of Annabelle Higgins, a little girl who had died under mysterious circumstances. The spirit apparently claimed that she only wanted to be loved. Feeling sorry for her, Donna and her roommate gave Annabelle permission to remain within the doll. A short time later, though, the doll, or the spirit inside of it, attacked a friend of Donna's, and they contacted a priest.
Hate it.
The priest contacted the Warrens, who declared that Annabelle Higgins was not a spirit, but a demonic entity posing as a little girl. The doll ended up with them, and it was locked away in their museum for safekeeping. Since then, it has been blamed for a number of fatal and near-fatal accidents involving those who doubt the spirit's power. Same as Robert.
I have thoughts.
Okay.
Great.
So if I can just summarize this.
Yep.
This woman was gifted, and I want to say woman because it doesn't sound like it was a child, was gifted a doll by her mother while she was in nursing school.
Yes.
That's a little old. Then this doll does this kind of elf on the shelf kind of thing where every day you wake up and it's somewhere different, right?
Yeah.
And then attacks or assaults people. Like, did they go to the police station and be like, I've been attacked by who? Raggedy Ann.
I do have a
Describe your attacker. Well, she's adorable,
Short,
but nice.
red yarn hair.
She's so cute. How did do you have any information on the attack? Because when you say it attacked someone, I'm like, with a bat.
Was it verbal?
No,
Did it bite?
It's not specific.
Did it try to strangle?
But
pillow
then
to
they
the
said
face?
once that the doll was in Connecticut, it attacked someone in Connecticut because it got out of its cage.
Well, who doesn't attack people in Connecticut?
Out of Lorraine and out of the Warrens.
I would love to see
It doesn't say in the
reenactments.
movie. It's a stabbing, but I mean they took some liberty.
I've never seen those movies because I don't want
there's
to.
Annabelle Origin where you find out where Annabelle came from, and then there's just Annabelle where she's smiling. She's not a Raggedy Ann doll, and that's the one about the possessed doll and the doll attacking people and stuff like that.
Have you seen these?
Yes.
So
And I've also seen The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2 and
what are these reenactments?
Conjuring
what are
2,
these like
Electric
fight?
Boogaloo.
What do the fight sequences look like?
it looks believable now because it's not.
Wait a minute, how
it's
can
not
it look
CGI
believable?
from Star Wars in the 80s.
I don't know how you make a Raggedy Ann doll threatening, and
She's
then
not a Raggedy Ann doll. She's like wearing a white dress and she has like I'll show you a picture.
So
It's
okay.
terrifying.
the Warrens specifically, I'm always a little confused about Ed and Lorraine Warren.
I have
because
a whole thing on
I know
them.
you do, but I just want to tee this up with some questions that maybe you're going to answer.
All right.
They always are up for like going to possess things or going to do seances or whatever. How come none of this stuff touches or hurts them?
Oh, see, that's not true.
Oh, great. Tell me
So
more.
Lorraine is a medium, and she takes on a lot of the brunt of these things. And if you've seen The Conjuring,
I have
she
not.
gets physically sick from whatever's in the house. And Ed is the one who kind of always has holy water and like crosses, and he's the one fighting against the
Kathy's
demons.
so put out.
So put out.
She just went, oh, God.
But they founded the New England Society for Psychic Research. So it started out as like a psychic thing, and then people would contact them when they had like possessed stuff that they needed taken care of. Like the priest would reach out to them and be like, hey, can you handle this?
I just feel like they created this New England Society for what? Well, fine. I created the Waffles Enthusiast Jubilee. Like, can't you? Anybody could say anything, right? Especially if you're dealing with a doll.
Well, I also think it's a hobby that just went way out of control. Like my friend started to do Pilates and really liked it, and then got certified in Pilates. Now she has a reformer in her home. Like so, like this seems like they were interested in this, and they had this weirdo doll, and then they're like, you know what? Why don't you become a medium? I'm gonna get some robes and some, crosses.
The doll is just one thing. Like they also were at the Amityville house, and they did that, and then the house in Rhode Island from The Conjuring, they investigated that, and then they went to a poltergeist in London.
Yeah, they seem to be like everywhere. They're
that's
like
what
Dr. Phil,
Yeah,
they
made their whole career on doing that. That's like, I don't think they started out that way.
I don't think a lot of people realize that a lot of these horror movies are based on true events.
Yeah.
And like the Amityville story is such a weird story because they've debunked that
he was trying to sell a book.
Right. The family, so if you don't know the story, the Amityville is this family was all murdered in their home.
By the son.
And he claimed that he didn't know what came over him. It was some sort of like
right. Robert?
Yeah, like an excuse is what Kathe would call it. And then they sold the home, and it was an odd thing. I mean, the way they were killed was odd. They were all face down in their beds, no struggle. The dog was barking, but not really barking, like out of the ordinary. It was very strange.
But the people that said it was haunted were the people that bought the
right.
house.
So then they sell the house. These people buy the house, and now they claim. I know, doesn't that sound like a chainsaw? And then the people that bought the house claim that it was haunted, but they were actually making it up. They said the walls actually ooze stuff, and that's what the movie is based on, is the book that was written based on this other family's perception of the home, and then they found out that that was not true. Poltergeist is a weird one because I always forget that that's based on true events.
This one is the Enfield Poltergeist, which is different. This is
what's the Enfield Poltergeist?
So that's the Conjuring 2 movie is based on that. And that
Do you have stock in this movie or something? You keep plugging it.
No, but people like just got on board with Ed and Lorraine Warren when these movies came out.
That's interesting.
But I had already known about them.
Oh, well.
I read shit.
Well, if Carolyn knew about them.
No, I knew about them because I'm interested in this stuff. So, and I was telling these guys before we started that they came to Plymouth when I was at Plymouth State, and they spoke to us.
Ed and Lorraine?
Yes.
But don't you think that, like, this is like job security for them? That like
they're both dead now.
Well, I'm sure they're dead now, but I'm saying like when they're putting all this together, you know what I mean? Like that they're creating jobs and opportunity and speaking engagements. Look at I bet they got a pretty penny to go.
Oh, absolutely. But
there you go.
It's the same in comedy. You get bigger and bigger, and you make more money, and
but a comedy we're not being like, oh, this is real. Like we're not saying like that.
Comedy's not real.
I'm saying that like this. We're not saying that dolls assaulted us.
No, because that wouldn't be true. It would be funny. You could do a whole thing about possessed dolls.
It would be funny, yeah.
I do think the Chucky movies are really funny. That's a doll that's possessed, right?
Yeah. He's got a murderer inside
him.
The doll has a murderer inside of them.
He's a convicted murderer, and when I think the premise of the movie, if I remember correctly, because I only saw it once.
I know, me too.
Is he gets electrocuted and ends up in the doll.
Yeah.
And then the kid gets it for Christmas, and he's like, "Now I want to play with you."
I mean,
so do you believe that a spirit can get into? Like,
I do.
Yeah.
An object. I do. And the Enfield Poltergeist is about a girl that's possessed. And poltergeist sometimes is when someone's like a teenager, they can put off an energy. And this was No, they can. It's not really a ghost.
Wait, teenagers can put off an energy?
Oh my God, Kathy, do you
better
go on the
believe it.
internet?
No, teenagers can put
You
off
know
an
that.
energy.
But
Yeah.
sometimes they can make objects move and stuff, and a lot of times poltergeists get mistaken for ghosts when it's actually like an energy that someone's putting off in the house and making things like explode and lights go out and stuff.
I didn't know
that.
that.
Yeah.
So it's not an actual poltergeist. It's just teenagers are awful.
No, sometimes.
Oh,
It's if you there's like two.
Kathy.
No.
I
No, I have two things on this.
Okay.
First is I do believe that I believe that when people pass in their spirit, they can come back, and an easy form of doing that is through electricity, so lights, those kinds of things. I also I don't know if I believe this, but I've read stories about it, and I find it interesting that when people have like transplants, like the organ transplant, and so say I got a new liver, probably because I need a new liver, but say I got a new liver, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I like chicken. Bob liked chicken, that kind of thing, right? Yeah. I kind of believe that. That's a little different, but I think somewhere on some level, some kind of possessed thing.
When
I
you
feel like
do a
this is-
podcast
Right.
in the city,
Right.
you're gonna hear city noises, gang. That's
Right.
it. Ooh.
Right.
It's weird because do you believe in signs? Because isn't that the same thing as what we're talking about?
Well, yeah. I mean, I believe in sign. You mean like if somebody leaves like a penny,
Okay, here's a great example. I've noticed this cardinal in my neighbor's yard for the past few days. And when you see a cardinal, they say that it's because someone that you've lost is coming back to visit you. And of course, in my mind, I was like, oh, a cardinal. And then I thought, well, it's not in my yard, though, so it's not for me. It's for the neighbor. But I still found it comforting.
Oh, I completely believe that. I've told you
Yeah.
the story before about my sister's wedding. I completely believe this.
I tell it now.
Okay, so my parents had passed away a year before my sister was getting married. And when we went, it rained the whole day. It was an outdoor wedding. And when we got there, we're probably going to have it inside. But the sun came out. We're like, we're just going to do this outside. So everyone's just kind of out in the parking lot waiting to see, set up and stuff. And there was this cardinal. There's this bird there just literally walking around among the people. Not even flying, just walking. And stayed that entire time. When the ceremony started, that bird went right to where my sister was, walked down the aisle with my sister, and then right at the end of the ceremony flew away. It was so distracting that everybody saw it. It wasn't one of those things where it's like, there's Dad.
But did it attack anyone?
No, it didn't attack anybody. It's not possessed. So sorry.
Was it angry?
It was cute though, but it's something that everybody there saw. This is so weird.
So why
yes,
is that any different than 40 people seeing a UFO or this doll moves on its own? And
I think it's a little different than Raggedy Ann being possessed and then assaulting people because she's having a bad day. You know what I mean? I just think it's
because she was actually a demon. It wasn't possessed by a girl who died. The demon was tricking them, because demons like to do that.
They are tricky.
That's what the whole story of the doll is.
Say that again. Explain
so
that to me.
So they thought that the doll was possessed by this little girl that died, but it was actually a demon saying that they were a little girl that died, but it was a demon that was possessing the doll. I know. You don't believe
it's like a double spy thing, which I have a problem with.
Because demons
myself.
are tricky. They like to trick people, if you believe in demons.
I don't believe in demons.
Right, but if you did believe in demons and you watch The Exorcist or any of those movies,
can't watch it.
They're tricking you into believing that they're one thing, but they're actually something else.
I see.
And they've been on the earth forever as energy. And they're noted in the Bible. They're noted in many different things, which is why exorcists, that's why they exist, because they've been around since ancient times.
Our demons are different than ghosts.
Demons are totally different.
They're
than
like
ghosts.
negative energy. They're not.
They're actual demons if you believe in the Bible. Like if you talk about the Bible and like Lucifer is the devil and he was an angel and he fell to earth and now he's considered like demon-like.
Yeah.
But he's not an actual demon. There's actual demons that are noted in the Bible.
How is it different from a ghost?
A ghost is someone's energy of someone that lived, that died. A demon is just an evil entity that's been around forever.
But an entity that then has to possess something?
Yeah. Negative energy, yeah. It can live on its own. Like if you ever saw the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington,
nope.
That's a good movie. That shows how the demon gets around.
I only saw the trailer and he was hot.
Oh, he's hot in that movie, number one. James Gandolfini is really good in that movie. And it's terrifying because it shows how the demon goes from one host to another. And he tries to kill the demon and he has this whole plan. And
how does it go?
What?
How does it go from one host to another?
Like, in the movie, like, what's his name? Chaplin, the actor Chaplin, is, I don't remember his first name, but he's possessed by the demon and he's in jail. And he starts speaking in tongues and all this other stuff.
I hate that.
And he's going to get...
It's upsetting.
They're going to kill him, and the guy that touches him, the demon goes into that guy's body.
Oh.
And then at one point, John Goodman's in it too. John Goodman gets possessed by the demon. And you can... the acting's so good in it because you can tell, like, their facial changes. Like, everyone's so good in that movie.
I love John Goodman.
It's a great movie. I don't think a lot of people have seen it.
I just a quick shout out to John Goodman. I want him in more things.
Yeah, it's a really good movie though. Like if you're, I know
I
you
could
don't.
pass
I know
on
you
John
want to
Goodman.
talk about the movie.
No, I'm just.
I really want to talk about John Goodman. Did you ever see the movie?
And then he comes up with this plan to get rid of the demon, and you find out that this girl's father, who was also a cop, because they play cops, he had a plan to get rid of the demon, and then I won't tell you what happens.
Well, I am never going to watch it.
I like John Goodman. I liked him in Roseanne, the first one, but now, I don't know. After the weight loss journey, I'm not sure.
Well, that's a lot of people feel that way when people have weight loss journeys. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if
it wasn't because of that. I'm not begrudging
Do you think
him.
maybe the new show is just weak?
I don't know.
There's a lot going on. I really loved him when he depicted Babe Ruth. That's a great movie.
The Babe.
The Babe. What a great actor.
I'll give you that.
He's charming AF. Love it.
But to see him in a serious role, he's funny in it. He sings in it, and he is possessed.
Is he singing or is the demon singing?
No, at that point, it might be the demon.
Is he like a triple threat? Can he sing and act?
Yeah, he can.
That demon.
He toured with.
John Goodman.
John Goodman was one of the Blues Brothers when John Belushi died.
What?
Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
Oh,
I did not know
Kathe,
that.
where are you looking? Are you on the internet?
Kathe, there's this thing called the internet.
No, they toured together.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right,
He's
all
a
right.
really good
very
singer.
talented.
He actually sings the blues.
I love when I see that, like when there's somebody that you respect in one genre, and then it's like, oh no, but they do this, and they bake bread.
Well, only because you brought it up, Laurie Metcalf I think she's a great actress.
Yes, me too.
From Roseanne.
Does she do something else?
She played Sheldon Cooper's mom on Big Bang.
I know,
Does
but like I'm
she
saying, does she sing? Does she dance?
No, I don't know if I've
I thought you were saying she's a triple threat.
No,
John Goodman is definitely.
No, I like her too.
I love John Goodman. I've clearly stated. You know who else I really like? Payne Lindsay from Tenderfoot TV.
Is he your hall pass?
Oh.
I feel like he's your hall pass.
No, Keith Morrison is my hall pass, but Payne Lindsay, I could add him to the list. Anyway.
I actually think, honestly,
yes,
I think he's in your league. I mean, I think you're over
what
his
does
league.
that even mean?
Well,
what I mean is like, okay, I'm totally digressing here.
Are we talking about Payne Lindsay or Keith Morrison?
Both.
You think
both, but
I'm out of their league or they're out of my league? Because Keith Morrison is about 80.
Right, I know. See, I think Keith, it wouldn't be interested in anybody. But I think Payne would be. And I think that you are out of his league, so that would be something if you wanted to pursue, you could.
Yeah, I'm married.
Well, he's probably going to listen to this podcast and give you a call anyway.
He's a fan of this podcast. No,
he might be. You don't know.
He's so great.
Do you know that Matthew Perry is Keith Morrison's stepson?
Chandler Bing.
Chandler Bing. He married his mom.
Did you watch the interview with...
Are we not talking about possessed?
No, we are. We're going to come back. We are just on a little bit of a tangent. Bear with us, listeners. So I love Friends. I do. I think it's funny. I think it was a well done show. It's got some problems.
It's a little dated.
It's got some problems.
Pivot.
Pivot. It's got some problems. I watched the interview with Matthew Perry about his alcoholism and drug journey, if you'll call it that. I can't watch Friends now without being like, oh, he's thin, so he was on drugs.
Yeah.
Oh, he's bigger, so he's healthy here. Like, now I can't watch the...
He almost died.
I applaud him for coming forward to talk about it because I do think that we need to normalize addiction and mental health and, like, talk about it more and more. And I'm also like, oh, now, poor thing. Yeah. No, I do. I feel like we do need to talk about it more. And now I'm, like, analyzing him.
I can't watch it anymore because when he was talking, he talked about how anxious he would get during a scene, and I get anxious for him now when I'm watching, especially bloopers.
You're an empath.
Not really, but okay. I'm faking it. Well, I am for like Matthew Perry, but like, other people, Girl Scouts and stuff. Like,
and your kids.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Carolyn, what else you got? Sorry.
No, it's fine. I was just like, is this the John Goodman podcast?
I had a question for you on what you were talking about. When you watch these, or you may have been to one of these like places where there are healers. They come in and they're like, praise the Lord, and then the person like falls and then they can get up and walk away. Like, is that part of this? Is that part of possession?
Bullshit.
Okay, that is, but this isn't. How is that different though? Because isn't it still
different.
Isn't that some kind of possession?
Supposedly, but that's if you look at the history of that's like snake oil salesmen. They're not real. They get people planted in the audience.
I'm not saying I believe that. I'm just saying, how is this different from that?
Because this is about completely different things. This is evil in an object. This is not someone pretending to be crippled and in a wheelchair and having someone lay their hands on them and fix them. That's not real.
I didn't hear anything you said because in my head I'm like, you are killing it, Kathe. I thought that was a really good argument that I gave.
It's totally different. It's an apple and an orange. It's not the same thing.
In my head, you're killing it, Kathe.
I was.
I am the best guest.
So talking myself, and I never do that.
Carolyn.
This one.
Yes, please continue.
I don't know how to pronounce this. It's spelled Dybbuk, the Dybbuk box, I think.
Dybbuk. We're getting a fact check on it. Dybbuk.
But this is according to Jewish folklore. A Dybbuk is a dark spirit. I'm sure it's Yiddish, and I just don't know how to pronounce it. Is a dark spirit that takes over the bodies of living people and uses them for evil. Oh. Legend has it that a Dybbuk can be trapped inside of a box and prevented from causing mischief unless the box had opened. So this one is
that's how boxes work.
No, but this is also a movie with Hottie Pants from The Walking Dead. What's his name?
No idea. Those are all zombies. I don't watch that.
No, it's the guy who... I'll think of it, but give me a second. Mm-hmm. But it was shown... it went up on sale on eBay, and the seller listed a vintage wine cabinet that came from the estate of a woman who survived World War II concentration camp. And the antique dealer bought it, and there was a Dybbuk box inside of it that his granddaughter was scared of. And so after he bought it, of course, he was plagued by a series of unfortunate events and recurring nightmares of an old hag that would brutally attack him, causing him to wake up with bruises on his body. He also experienced an overpowering stench of cat urine in his home. That would be enough for me to get rid of this box. Yeah. Tragically, his mother suffered a stroke while opening the box. Not surprisingly, he decided to get rid of it. And the box ended up in the hands of a Missouri Medical Museum director, Jason Haxton, who was skeptical about the powers attributed to the box. He soon changed his mind. After acquiring the box, he began to experience a series of medical maladies, including bleeding eyes and strange rashes. He also began to dream of being attacked by an old hag and would also awake with bruises on his body. And then he said, while it was in the basement of his house, a man died there. His body was found lying next to the box. He eventually became so unnerved by the box that he reached out to scientists and rabbis who instructed him to build a wooden ark lined with 24-karat gold, place the box inside, and bury it in the ground. Apparently that gets rid of it, gold. But it's like there's a movie, and it's on display now in the Haunted Museum with Zach Baggins from Ghost, whatever that show is, Ghost Hunting. Not Ghost Hunters. That's Jason Hawes. It's the other one, Ghost Adventures.
Ghost Adventures.
But he has a haunted museum in Las Vegas, which
Yes.
I want to go to, but you probably don't.
I will go to that because those guys are on TV.
Yeah, so he's been accumulating objects to put in his museum, and this is one of them. But there's a movie, I think it's just called The Box, and it's with Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays the dad and the girl, and it's what happens when they get the box. It's really good.
So what's
It's
the
creepy
difference
AF.
between that and something being cursed? So like the Hope Diamond is cursed, right?
This
or
is-
does it have a demon attached to it?
You could argue either way, but this is
No, I really couldn't.
This is according to Jewish folklore. They believe that
Okay.
this is a Dybbuk as a dark spirit, so that
Okay.
it's their version of a demon
Okay.
in the Jewish culture. So they think that they can be contained in a box.
Okay.
I don't know about this one either. And you know what? Like, first of all, it's a box. It sounds like a lot of buyer's remorse. And why are we always blaming stuff on the elderly? Like this old, like an old hag. An old hag. That sounds like somebody was like, you know who it was? Your mother. Your mother did this to us. Right? Except for the bleeding eyes.
Yeah, the bleeding
Ugh,
eyes. That's
bleeding
hard
eyes
to-
and rashes? No, thank you.
I mean,
and your
Yeah.
house smells like cat pee?
But here's the thing.
Did
Who
they have a
wrote
cat?
this?
No, I'm guessing not.
that is a legit question.
I think that's true. Do they have,
Overpowering stench of cat urine.
So like
Yeah.
even
ammonia,
if they had a
like
cat,
the ammonia smell that a cat.
it wasn't just like the litter box needs to be changed. It was
listen, that could happen with a cat if they have hardwood floors and they didn't wash them properly.
fair.
That's in there, okay?
You know what they need? Swiffer.
Swiffer.
fabuloso. That's what they
Fabuloso.
need.
That gets rid of
Fabuloso.
everything. What else you got over there? Because I know you have a stack of possessed
Oh,
things,
it's just-
so that I won't sleep for several days.
Well, we talked about the devil's rocking chair. Do you want to talk about
Yes,
that?
go ahead.
So this, it's dubbed the devil's rocking chair. It is unknown origin, but it was passed on. These people have weird names. So the Glatzel family in the early 50s. It's simply a piece of household furniture until the summer of 1980 when it became the center of a tragedy that struck the family. The sinister relic became part of one of America's most notorious exorcisms, which involved 2 demonic possessions and an eventual murder. It is believed that the chair quite literally was cursed by the devil. The horror began in July 1980 when David Glatzel, 11, became possessed by a demon. One night he woke up screaming, claiming he had been visited by a man with big black eyes, a thin face with animal features, jagged teeth, pointed ears, horns, and hooves. David was, everyone agreed, not the kind of kid who liked scary movies, who was likely to make things up, and he was visibly shaken by this experience. He became withdrawn and quiet. His older sister, Debbie, asked her fiancé, Arnie Johnson, if he would stay with her family for a while and see whether it would help David get out of his depression. Arnie, of course, agreed, but things didn't get better. David reported more nightmares about the terrifying man who promised to take his soul. Odd scratches and bruises began to appear on the boy, and all injuries seemed to happen while he was asleep. Odd sounds, which Arnie couldn't explain, were heard in the attic. Worst of all, David began to claim he was now seeing the beast while he was awake. He was always seen sitting in the family's rocking chair, which the beast now claimed as his own. David, and later Lorraine Warren, I know you're not on board with Lorraine,
Seat safe.
was the only one who saw the beast in the chair, but family members often saw it rocking back and forth, seemingly under its own power. The family first brought over a priest to bless the house. This didn't help. In fact, it made things worse. The sounds in the attic got louder. David's visions increased, and he began to hiss at his family and speak with multiple voices. That's the sign.
That's the sign,
That's the sign.
Carolyn?
Kelly doesn't like that.
No, I don't.
He started to quote from Paradise Lost, a book that most 11-year-olds aren't exactly familiar with. During the night, someone had to stay up and watch David, who woke every 30 minutes, sometimes having seizures. Desperate for help, they called Ed and Lorraine Warren, who began making regular visits to their home, bringing more priests with them and performing exorcisms. Many of those exorcisms took place while David was seated in the rocking chair. The chair itself moved about the house on its own, mysterious disappearing and reappearing in different places. Most incredibly, it levitated on numerous occasions in view of witnesses, including the Warrens, clergy members, and shocked family members. It happened once while David was sitting in it during an exorcism. After a final exorcism, the demon left David. He soon began to show signs of improvement. However, his sister's fiancé, Arnie Johnson, was not so lucky. Apparently, the demon left David and entered him. He started making the same kind of growls and hisses and that David made, as well as slipping into trances for a period of months before killing his landlord.
Ooh.
This is also one of the movies that they made. It's The Devil Made Me Do It, but the movie's not very good.
Oh.
With a 5-inch pocket knife, stabbing the man over and over as Debbie watched. Bono died a few hours later in the hospital, and Johnson was picked up by the police 2 miles from the murder scene. 8 months later, Johnson appeared in court with a plan to enter a plea of not guilty due of demonic possession.
I mean...
And it was used as a reason for murder. It didn't work. He refused to accept the plea because there was no evidence to show that Johnson was possessed. Johnson eventually went to prison for his crime. He was found guilty of first-degree manslaughter and received up to 10 to 20-year sentence, although he only served 5. And then Arnie and Debbie married after his release.
Wait a
I
second.
love that story. I
Oh,
love that
do you?
story.
Why
I
do you
was
love
rooting
that?
for him the entire time.
Yeah.
Really?
First of all,
He only got 5 years
so
and
it was manslaughter.
manslaughter.
They're like, okay, look, we aren't seeing that you're possessed, so we're going to give you manslaughter.
first of all, he shouldn't have served any time for the reason that, like, that all this was put on his shoulders. Like, hey, there's something wrong with this 11-year-old kid. You know who should come in? Arnie.
No,
Let's
they
bring-
just brought Arnie in to watch him, and then he brought in the Warrens and the priests.
I
and-
know, but still, it was on his shoulders. And then all this stuff
Yeah.
happened. Then all of a sudden, he's possessed. I think what he did is he got real sick of this family real fast. And he's like, how do I get out of this? And that's how he did it.
What's the fine line, though, with, are you possessed or are you having a psychotic break?
Well, here's the thing. Let me just finish this last part because it's kind
Great.
of funny.
Okay.
It said, for many years after the horrifying events of 1980, the rocking chair remained in storage. When the Glatzel family later moved, it went with them. However, over time, it became apparent that there was something very wrong with the chair. Whoever sat in the chair, whether innocently or because they knew its strange history, were suddenly stricken with incapacitating sciatica or abnormal back problems. Some were so bad that they required surgery. One close family member was unable to walk upright more than 10 years after testing the legend of the chair.
Sciatica.
I have never wished sciatica on anybody,
No,
but
it's
this family, like,
very
honestly, if you've had this kind of history with, like, a rocking chair, have you ever moved? I have left good stuff in a move, right? I would have left this. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
make sure
The
we
chair
have enough
doesn't fit on the
chair
truck.
for you all.
That truck belongs falling off
That's
on 93.
ridiculous, right?
So that's the thing.
This chair causes sciatica.
Yeah, and because that demon got tired. It was old. It was like, the worst I can do is a bad back and sciatica now.
I'm tired.
I'm so tired. You know what? Sciatica for everybody.
I actually think that's the only legit thing I've heard in here this whole time because
And
there's
now
all
rocking
these
chairs
things.
are
It's
in
like-
the historically
it's
not
in the Hunter
comfortable.
Museum in Las
Great.
Vegas.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
What is
I don't know. It's probably in a case next to Annabelle.
It's all in plexiglass. You can't. There's alarms to make sure it doesn't move on its own. What is the deal though with like? So, as you know, I'm terrified of The Exorcist, possession, any of that stuff, demons. That stuff really does a number on me. However, what's the difference if people are murdering people? Like, couldn't they just say, yeah, I had intrusive thoughts, which is mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one of the other school of thoughts with demons, that demons don't actually exist.
Yeah.
That people have mental illness and they've invented this. But it's kind of hard to believe that on a certain level with some of because I mean, if you believe in the Bible and it's not just a story, it's all documented in there. It's documented in the Catholic Church. It's documented in all these different things. So it's like, are these all just shared mental illness stories, or are these actual demons? And I think that becomes the question, like, on what you believe in. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are religious and they believe in faith, but there's other people who are like, I haven't seen it. I don't know if I believe that.
Right. I don't know.
So I think that becomes the question on what you actually believe.
Yeah, but if you went back and looked at this from the lens of, you know, maybe if they drank more water and had medication and
This
better
one's
health.
1980. It's not like olden
Nobody drank
times.
water in the 80s. What are you talking about?
We never even had water bottles.
Oh my God! Yes, exactly.
I don't remember drinking water once when I was a kid.
We didn't drink water.
We drank it out of the hose in the summertime.
I was actually thinking about that
lead
when you talking about
poisoning.
when you talk about these demons. I'm like, you know what? Maybe they're just dehydrated. You
That's
know,
true.
I know we talk about that a lot, but like I do think.
Why
but
would he
in-
quote Paradise Lost though at 11? Like he's
Then-
up in the attic
no,
in the
here's the
rocking chair
thing.
just reading Paradise
That's when you lost me because I have my 11-year-old nephew. He does shit like that all the time. Like he'll be like, "Hey, what's your favorite Imagine Dragons song?" and shit like that. And like he's a big reader. He's a big
Paradise
reader.
Lost and Imagine Dragons are a pretty big stretch.
They're not.
mean-
Have you listened to the lyrics? I'm not kidding. The last time I sat with him, he just turned to me. He's like, "You know what my favorite TV show is? A Neutrogena skincare commercial. That's his favorite television show." You don't think that's fucking like possessed?
No, I think that's weird. I don't think he's possessed.
But maybe in the 80s they would have.
Yeah.
69 definitely, right?
What about the kids that say they lived a life?
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah,
What
like
do
they
you
were like when
mean?
I was on the
What do
ship.
you mean?
When I was on the ship with my friends, and then I came down here to be your son. Like, you've ever seen those kids?
Oh yeah.
Who started talking about how she knew her husband or whatever, and he lived in a village 30 miles away.
Yeah.
Brought her there, and she immediately said his name, and then he didn't follow through with the promises he made on her deathbed. It was all true.
Yeah.
Creep Town. There's that little
Okay.
boy who started telling his family that when I was with my other family, and they'd be like, "Oh, okay," and then he'd say, "Oh, there's a whole YouTube movie about it. We can put that in the show notes." He's talking about how his family and the house and whatever. So they finally, after like years of this, take him to this island that he keeps claiming he lived on, and he's pointing out these things he's been talking about forever. It's so weird.
That one.
But is that a demon though, or is that like?
I don't
no,
know if
no,
it's a
I don't think
demon.
that's a demon.
Yeah,
That's
reincarnation.
It's a different topic.
Right.
but
I also wonder, like,
it's also weird though. Like
No,
Yeah.
I'm
how
intrigued.
he
I'm
would have
intrigued
that
by
knowledge,
that.
and then
Right.
it all checks out.
I'm intrigued by that. There's like this
Animal.
fly in here right now, and I'm feeling like, oh my
moth.
God, is that my Uncle
Sometimes
Bernie?
I
Like,
see
you
a
know,
sometimes
demon.
I see a cardinal and I think, wow, someone's here to visit. And then I see a moth and I'm like, ew, kill it.
right, right.
Well, I swallowed a moth in an outdoor show, so I
Yes, she
am
did.
paranoid about them.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, during COVID, I was outdoors, and I sucked in, and a moth went into my throat in like dust. I had to spit it out. It was disgusting.
Wow.
So
How
now
did
when
the
I
set
see a
go?
moth, I go,
We're at that point in the show
it
where
was so gross.
movies that have scared you to pieces that have to do with possession, or I mean all of them. That's my answer. When I was a little kid, there was my brother and his friends rented Exorcist, like VHS, VCR, and I saw some of it and was terrified and have never let go of it. Nothing?
I like the Omen movies, and I'm not scared of them.
Nothing scared you. There wasn't one that you were like,
No, like, have you ever seen the movie Stir of Echoes with
No,
Kevin Bacon?
I am not. You could name
That's not a possession
1,000
movie.
It doesn't
But
matter.
he gets hypnotized by his neighbor because he's stressed at work, and then she opens a door, and now he's in his house, and he gets obsessed with this thing that's in his head. He gets obsessed, and he starts digging a hole, and he finds out this whole thing about his house. And it's really cool the way they do it, because you see him like go down this rabbit hole where he's like, he was never open to any of that stuff before. He's just a blue-collared guy that drinks beer and hangs out with his wife and his kid. And then now all of a sudden he's seeing these visions and stuff. And they basically, the Stir of Echoes, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie. And it's scary, but it's also fascinating to see. I get scared, but like in a good way almost, because it just opens your mind to look at things in a different perspective.
Okay.
I think you'd like that one, actually.
I don't know about that.
There's no possession.
I don't really have a good answer because I don't watch,
don't watch them.
scary movies, but I did watch Footloose like 12 times.
Kevin Bacon's a good actor.
Yeah.
You know
he's
what?
really
I'd put
good.
him right up there with John Goodman.
Would you? Because he
You
can also
would? You'd
sing.
put Kevin Bacon and John Goodman in the same?
Yes,
He's a
heck
triple
yes.
threat. He dances, he sings.
He can play. He can be in a thriller. Did you ever see The River Wild with Meryl Streep?
Great movie.
And Kevin Bacon plays this like
Psycho.
diabolical guy that
I just think he's on Instagram too much. I'm so tired watching him and his wife dance.
You don't like him to
Really?
sing. That's his daughter. But you don't like him to sing with his
Wait a
goats?
minute. No, his
No,
wife
there's
is the
someone who's
closer.
dancing
Oh.
with his wife,
He
but
sing-
he
he
does
dances
stuff
with
with the
the
daughter
daughter.
too.
It's
I
too
think
much,
he's
too
charming,
much.
and I love
Too
it.
much.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah, it's adorable.
He sings with his goats. Do you not like that either?
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah.
and I'm pissed.
He
No,
sings,
I'm already
he
too
sings songs
much.
with his goats.
When Footloose came out, Kevin Bacon, crush or no crush?
Crush.
Crush.
I like the chunky one.
Oh, the guy.
Chris
Yeah.
Penn.
Penn.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. He was
Yeah.
good.
I like.
That was Chris Penn?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sean Penn's brother who
Yeah.
died of an overdose.
Oh.
I really like Sarah Michelle. Sarah Michelle Gellar. No, that's not who I liked.
Isn't she?
Sarah Jessica Parker was in that. She was so cute.
She was?
Yes.
Yes.
In Footloose?
Yes.
I guess
watch
I guess
it.
I have.
See,
I
my
am
dad's a
so
minister,
unaware.
So a lot of people be like, "So you couldn't dance in your town?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, he
Yeah.
actually took us roller skating."
Oh.
Which is just dancing on wheels, y'all.
Dancing on wheels.
All right. So no movie scared you. Nothing has scared you. Nothing you've had to turn off, Kathy.
I mean, lots of things scare me, but like I didn't watch scary movies. I didn't do any of that. I mean, I would be scared by the stupidest stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what movie scared me? The Elephant Man, the original.
Oh yeah, that was scary when you were.
It was on HBO, and this was back when.
Now Mask didn't scare you though, right?
No, Mask didn't scare me.
Because he had the same thing.
With Rocky, and Cher was in that movie.
Cher was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no one knew who Eric Stoltz was because
Right.
he had that makeup. So everybody was like,
That's right.
Yeah.
"Who's
That's
this guy?"
right.
He was supposed to be Marty McFly,
Yep.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They even shot scenes with him and everything.
but they didn't. The test, they didn't. It didn't work like the chemistry or
I
whatever.
really like him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I really love Michael J. Fox.
Do you like
too.
anacondas? There's snakes out there.
snake?
There's big. Ice Cube, best line of that movie.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, you'd hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
Scary.
It's scary because it's snakes.
I don't like snakes. I
Have
do
you seen
not.
Snakes on a Plane?
Yeah, he's like
John Voight?
a creeper in
Yeah.
that.
What'd you say, Kath?
Snakes on a Plane.
Nope, never seen Snakes on a Plane. We gotta get these motherfucking snakes off a plane. Yeah, no. I don't enjoy snakes, demons, possessions.
The only I do have.
Oh,
one-
good.
No, not when I was little, but like now when
You
I
can
watched
cut
that
out everything that just happened and get straight to
documentary, the Fry Festival,
the Fire Festival.
the Fire Festival. I hate crowds and that whole thing and travel and all those logistics in the travel and like that.
Yeah.
That's
That was
The
That was
documentary
anxiety
about the nun
producing.
that got killed in Baltimore, I think.
the keepers.
That was
Oh,
that
yeah.
was scary.
See, that stuff doesn't scare me.
It's just scary because it's true.
But I am a realist. I like that there's facts and it happened and
It pisses me off. Like I want to know what.
right.
happened.
That's because that was a crime.
yes.
Yeah. That's
All right. Well, next time you come back, we'll talk about crime. How's that sound?
okay.
You're a repeat guest.
Or John Goodman.
or
or
Payne
Payne
Lindsay.
Lindsay. Or Hall Passes.
Is Payne the first name?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't
I
like
think it's a
that.
family name. In my mind, it's a family name. Thanks for tuning in to the Fraidy Cat podcast. Thank you, Kathe Farris.
Kathy, thanks for being
KatheFarris.com
here.
for more information on Kathe. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kelly McFarland,
I'm Carolyn Plummer.
and we'll see you next time.